what's up guys? So this is my new to me GT4. I've had this car for about a month, but the second I got it, I basically threw it in for wrap to make it yellow because it's my car, it's gotta be yellow, right? A few things I just wanna go over about this car, optioning to begin with. So it has the PCCBs. I'm not quite a big fan of that in the sense of how you'll shred through consumables on track. PCCBs for now, eventually will downsize toward the steels. Steels are going to be a little smaller, and with the steel we'll be able to run 19s instead of the 20s. So I will have more wheel options eventually when I do downsize toward the steels instead. Next up, we do have the lightweight buckets. I think this option was non-negotiable for me. Just, you got to get bucket seats if you're getting a GT level Porsche, right? Manual transmission, of course, the 2016 GT4s are only manual, so no PDK option even. We do have the wing riser option on this. At first, I didn't really care too much for the wing risers, but Neil certainly convinced me that risers are a must on this car. It really takes that wing to the next level, and honestly, it needs the additional downforce. The car puts down so much power to the rear that having the extra rear downforce is a must. Internally, we have a GT3 throttle body in here, fab speed exhaust. The car sounds amazing. Things like a lightweight flywheel and the shorter transmission tune from Sharkworks makes this car rev a lot faster than a normal GT4. And because of the exhaust things, it actually sounds closer to a GT3 in my opinion. And I am really happy about that just because that is the sound profile that I prefer. These are basically the tires that came on the car because through the last owner, they got swapped over to HRE wheels with different tires. So these are basically dry rotted with how old they are. The car's 2016, right? So there's not very much grip on these tires anymore, but eventually we'll change them as well. But yeah, we're just here with the car today for the first sort of spirited driving experience. Like I mentioned, for this season, the Type R is going to be the primary track car anyway. So we're just shaking down the car a little bit, feeling things out. So far, very interesting, completely different from the Type R. Naturally, it's a opposite platform, right? So mid-engine rear-wheel drive versus the Type R's front-engine front-wheel drive. So different from my Type R, bro. Car loves partial throttle. So beyond the driving experience and the driving dynamics being different, my favorite thing about this car is the sound. It sounds insane. Yeah, with all the exhaust things I mentioned already, no cat, fab speed exhaust, GT3 throttle body, the thing just screams like crazy, and you guys will see the driving footage as we go through it. But yeah, I can't get over the sound of this car. Beyond anything, that's my favorite part. Okay, so on to the handling dynamics of this car after just going for a little spirited drive, right? Number one, the car's weight transfer is amazing. It's on OEM suspension, and it's really impressive how tight the suspension feels. It makes the Type R's R mode suspension feel soft, but it's not to the point where it's jarring or upsets the car at all. It feels very balanced and very compliant, even just on the road, and you feel the balances and all that stuff. Nothing that throws off the car. You just feel everything, right? Beyond that, once it transfers and loads up, the car definitely needs more camber, so you can't really throttle out of corners right now without the camber, right? Otherwise, the rear is just going to totally step out. MRs don't love getting sideways, so that's not what we're trying to do out here. Once this car has some camber and it hooks up with the way the suspension loads, it's going to be insanely unfair. Like, I can't wait to put some camber on this car, though it will need some camber parts, lower control arms, stuff like that. So for now, I actually do think this is about the limit of what the stock alignment can do camber wise. Regardless, it feels amazing. Steering feels really good. Granted, I'm coming from the Type R, which doesn't have the best steering, right? So this one's steering is a lot more knife edge responsive, so it really feels like you're driving a knife. And I love when front ends feel like that. Another car that feels like that is the GR86. So same sort of steering dynamics, but this one being mid-engine, it's very interesting how responsive it is to throttle and how it rotates the car. different than anything I've ever driven. Even Neil's MRS, which is mid-engine as well, but this car just has so much more power and torque that when you use the throttle, it's a lot more responsive. You really steer the car with the throttle in this car. Really fun car to drive, but it is a riot. You gotta be really careful with it. The rear can definitely get really crazy, but so much fun, so much fun. As long as you're respecting the car, respecting your limits, you'll have a good time, especially with that sound.
All right.